So Ginette, small business people after March got sort of like a safe harbour, apparently. What is that, and what does it mean, and what's happening at Christmas time?
Sure. So back in 2017 we got safe harbour. It was part of the last lot of insolvency law reforms, and the take-up's been reasonable, but I don't think it was enough. Anyway, pandemic hit March 2020, and so the government decided to give everybody safe harbour. So we've all got it now. If you're a company director, you're in safe harbour. Effectively, you've got safe harbour protection, which means that you cannot be sued for insolvent trading if your company goes into external administration during what we'll refer to as the COVID period. Now, the COVID period is from the 23rd of March. It was till the 25th of September, but it's now to the 31st of December. So for that period, if you place your company into liquidation, you will not be able to be sued for insolvent trading up until 23rd of March to whatever day you put your company into liquidation. All right, so that's what COVID safe harbour is. Real safe harbour, which has been around since 2017, is very similar. It's another protection from insolvent trading, but you needed to have some responsibility on the directors, and they needed to do some work. So you needed to have a plan, you needed to have a turnaround plan, you needed to have paid your employee entitlements, and which included superannuation, and you needed to have lodged all your tax returns. So your latest BAS had to have been lodged. If you were paying payroll tax, you had to have lodged that within the due time. So once you'd achieved those milestones, then you could be in safe harbour if you were consulting with someone like myself and you were getting proper insolvency advice. And of course you weren't allowed to be breaching any of your director's duties, but that goes without saying. So providing you had all of those things in place, you were in safe harbour and you couldn't be sued for insolvent trading. So pandemic hits, government says, wow, we're a bit worried, this is nobody's fault. Let's give everyone safe harbour, which they've done. So now we're moving along, we're in September, October, and the government's sort of brought in some new reforms, and they've said, okay, well, look, we're coming out of the thaw, so how do we cope with with what's going to happen in the new year? How do we give everyone the best possible opportunity to achieve as small businesses? And so what they've decided to do is create a category called of SMEs, which are companies that have less than $1 million in creditors. Now, this is also new that there's no legislation yet, okay? So we're just giving you the broad picture as how it's been announced from 10 pages from Treasury. So anyway, this is what it looks like. It's supposed to be come the 1st of January, the legislation will be in place, and what creditors in that, what companies in that particular category will be able to do is say, hey, I'm not really sure if I am going to make it through, so I'd like to sort of opt in to the regime. So I'll register my name on a register, and that way I can continue to have the safe harbour that I've had from last year, and I can continue to have it into the new year until I really work out whether I'm, am I going to be okay? Am I going to see it through, or do I need to go into maybe a voluntary administration or a liquidation? I'm just not sure. So pop your name on the register and you'll be fine, whilst you go and seek some advice and work out what you should be doing. Okay?
And that's up until the 31st of March.
That's 31st of March. Now, the COVID safe harbour, which I didn't mention, I don't think. The COVID safe harbour, the problem with that is that you can only get the protection if you place your company into liquidation during the COVID period. So we've got some issues there that if you don't know, as at the 31st of December, whether you want to go into voluntary administration or go into liquidation, and you sort of go over onto the 1st of January and then decide to put your company into liquidation, then you might not get the safe harbour.
So basically, do not pass go, do not collect the $200. You've not actually had the protection
right.
potentially for the whole time you might have thought you had.
Correct.
And that's applying, we think, to the people of over $1 million worth of creditors. So pretty much you've got to make a decision pretty soon. So what are my options as a director who thought they were in safe harbour? I don't know if I'm insolvent, but I'm not sure. Do I get the real thing, and is it too late, or what do I do?
Well, if you're even asking yourself those sort of questions, why wouldn't you go and speak to someone and get some advice?
Gotcha.
Why wouldn't you do an assessment of your situation and check to see whether you'd qualify for Real Safe Harbour in any event, just to be sure? There are some other benefits with Real Safe Harbour as well. You know, happy to go into those at a later stage, but you know, they involve restructuring. So if you are going to do any form of restructuring, then maybe Real Safe Harbour is the better option for you in any event. But you know, like they say, get some advice and talk through your options, particularly at the moment with so many changes going on. You don't know what the legislation is, what it's likely to be, etc. I think you should you know, cover as many bases as you possibly can.